It is vast. It is long. It is glorious, even enigmatic. But for a good part, it is forgotten and even paid no attention to. Toastmaster of the day, dear area governor, Toastmasters from Mangalore and Infosys, and dear guests, Aham Swagatam Tvam. I welcome you all. Today, I stand at the threshold of an important milestone. Consequently, I am experiencing pangs of nervousness and believe that the high allotted time might make matters really worse. So I have decided to kill some time and conduct a little quiz. But don't be concerned, this is not a technical quiz. But let me mention that the teachers among us, especially the history ones, are exempt from taking this. Quiz time! So my questions are as follows. In which century was Gautam Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, born?
1699. No man, in BC, some BC.
Who is, next question.
599.
Who is regarded as the founder of yoga or yogic practices?
Patanjali.
Amazing. In which centuries and where was the Nalanda University operational?
14th century. 14th century.
Nalanda. Where?
Patna.
Alright.
About 20 kilometers from where I used to see.
Thank you very much for your guesses and responses. But let us not get into the discussion of these questions or answers. Rather, let me ask you one more question. What do you think is a common thread along these questions? Any guesses? As you correctly guessed, these are closely related to our motherland, India's past. Let us keep this in mind as we proceed ahead. A few days ago, I read a book by the title Understanding Lord Shiva. Among the many interesting things in this book was one line in the acknowledgement section. The authors in this section said, and I quote, "We find ourselves singularly fortunate to have been born in this land of ancient wisdom and seers." Reading this line, I was transported back by about 3 years to the day when my colleagues from Sweden, standing in front of the grand ISKCON temple in Bangalore, asked me a simple question. They asked me, "Do you find yourself lucky to have been born in India?" Thus started the most forgettable 15 minutes of my life as I stammered and uttered indecipherable nonsense. For I wanted to say yes, but I could never explain why. This question had never been posed to me before, and consequently I had never given thought to this at all. So I put this question to you. Do you think you could have done better? Do you think you could have explained to these unassuming foreigners what makes India glorious and us lucky?
Yes.
Do these two incidents ring a bell in your mind and remind you what is vast, long, glorious, yet forgotten? As you all must have guessed it, it is our country's glorious past, our beliefs and practices, and the painful realization that it occupies only so much space in our mind as it does in our country's libraries, which is close to nothing. It is this that the authors referred to when they said that they consider themselves lucky to have been born in India. Now let us turn our attention backwards in time and try to understand few of these works and beliefs of India's ancient past. First, the language Sanskrit. The language Sanskrit is regarded as a highly advanced language, and its structure, grammar and structure ensures that it is a highly adaptive language for the computers. This language was developed in India at least 3 millennia before. Second is the word Om, the mystic Om, which is universally accepted as the source of all life forms, has its roots in India. Third, the Vedas, the Upanishads and the many epics composed by the Indian scholars for a long time were transmitted orally through generations. And here I am struggling to even memorize a 10-minute script. Next, the heliocentric nature of Earth, that is, that the Earth is not flat and that it revolves around the sun, was discovered by the Indian scientists at least a millennium before it was discovered by the Western counterparts, namely Galileo Galilei. The last example, we are all aware of India's contribution to the field of mathematics, but did you know that we had doctors who could diagnose and treat illnesses such as diabetes and even cancer? After all, Ayurveda as a science was developed in India at least 1,000 years before Christ, that is in the BCs. And one can go so on and explain things which are even more fascinating. But we have to arrive at the most important facet of ancient Indian life, then it is this. People then had learned to live in harmony with nature. They had learned to have better control over themselves, physical as well as mental, something that we cannot even imagine to have today. But it is here that I ask you, considering where we stand today, do you think we have the right to call these as our contributions and our achievements? Are we not too detached from these principles and beliefs, or even their mere knowledge, that we can call them as our own? But by saying this, I do not wish to pinpoint at any particular person. It's a matter of great misfortune that we have collectively as a society failed to preserve, practice, or even study about this vast knowledge which is our own heritage. You might find it ironic to note that the earliest works done in the field of Indian mythology, religion, or even literature was composed by our erstwhile foreign rulers. Traditions and practices which we thought to be archaic and old-fashioned, such as the yoga or the pranayama, are being adopted by people the world over in pursuit of living a better life today. But you know what is worse? The school textbooks these days are not helping the cause. They are ensuring that history unfortunately remains a bland and a boring subject. This really is a very serious situation. But there is hope. As they say, der aaye par durust aaye. Better late than never. These days, media has helped us a lot, and many organizations are able to showcase their work based on the Indian heritage and able to take their teachings to the world. Institutions like the Art of Living are helping people look within so that they can live healthier, composed, and richer lives. For that matter, we even have contemporary Indian authors like Devdutt Patnaik, who recently appeared on TED, who are researching and rolling out books in numbers in mythology, ancient arts, or even religion. But this will not do. If we really wish to call this heritage our own, if we really wish to believe that these things belong to us, then all of us will have to spend some time towards it. You may not understand certain contexts, you may not believe in certain things, but it is here that I must mention what Sri Ravi Shankar mentioned, and I quote, "Kuch jaan ke karo, kuch maan ke karo." Understand some things and accept some things. After all we need to be is aware, else beware, you might be caught unaware. But as I end the speech today, all I can say is go back home, do a bit of research. So as a little exercise, I am passing on to you a small list of questions. All you need to do is go through these, spend some time over it. Do not be concerned if you get the answers wrong or if you do not even know the answers. Just log on to the net, open a book, get the answers. Who knows? Tomorrow you might be interested deeply in it and you might spend the necessary amount of research that this field deserves. And you might experience the blast from the past.
Thank you, Anand. Sunny, do you have the time, please?
Anand, you took total of 9 minutes and 36 seconds.
Well done, well within the time. And now you will also get voting chips to vote for 3 speakers.
we